good evening. It is Nathalie Norris here. I am the holistic nutritionist behind Glow Nutritional Consulting. And I wanted to pop on tonight because I have spent the day at this beautiful retreat, workshop, seminar that was just so stunning in a million ways. So I hope that I don't cry because it was that beautiful throughout the entire day. And there were so many pieces that are just so massively beautiful. So it was taught by monks and nuns and lay practitioners from the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition. And one of the pieces that I felt like would be most applicable for you guys, or that would help you guys so much, and it was so beautiful, was this kind of really big focus on mindfulness while eating. So it was a very kind of practical day in the sense of it was a lot of, instead of focusing on kind of the science of mindfulness or the kind of benefits of it, it was entirely kind of guided meditations and beautiful exercises and all of that kind of stuff. So one of the exercises was around your food, which was lunch. I just wanted to share it with you guys because I know it's kind of starting to hit the mainstream a little bit. I feel like I've heard of it from clients who have been in different kind of mainstream weight loss programs where there is a focus on mindfulness. This goes far beyond any kind of goals of weight loss, but it is also an active piece, and why not make it a part? If it's going to help you in many ways anyways, then why not make it a part, whether your goal is weight loss or anything else. So I wanted to come on tonight and share it as best that I could with a recap of kind of the day, and just kind of let you guys, whether it's for you or whether it's not for you, that is all great. But I wanted to kind of share this process of thinking about your food and connecting with your food before eating. So if this one's not for you, that's totally okay. And if it is, then I'm so happy to have you here. Please like or share or comment so that I can see you guys, and so that I know that you were here and that you enjoyed this and talks like this. That always helps me kind of plan for the future and ensure that it will be stuff that is helpful for you. So thank you so much for being here. So today was this beautiful day. The piece that I wanted to share was around the kind of guided meditation, or the guidance for silent meditation during mealtime. So the lunch today was silent in this room, and I don't know how many people were in there during lunch, maybe about 50, and just silent. Like you could hear a pin drop if somebody had dropped it. Had there been like a tile, it was a carpeted, but had it been a tile floor, you could have heard it. So the guidance that we were given beforehand, which I have participated in beautiful meals before, and I feel like I have tried to be mindful before, but never to this depth, never to this extent, which is what I always love, kind of learning from amazing people. So the guidance that we were given before we fell silent for lunch hour, which you can practice at any point with any meal or with any snack, was to just kind of, before you even start eating, so just kind of looking at your food, instead of calling it pasta or calling it pizza or calling it whatever it might have been, taking a look at all of the individual ingredients in there, what actually kind of made up what you were eating. So I had made this quinoa-based pasta with tomatoes and olives and basil and red onion, and then I had this cashew-based Parmesan alongside it. And so it was really kind of this appreciation of all of these different kind of elements, instead of just being like, oh, this is my pasta lunch or whatever. You kind of jumped into looking at it a little more deeply. There's basil that came in, and then you start kind of picturing or taking into account, like, I wonder where this stuff came from, or where it was grown. So I know that the tomatoes were local. I know that the basil was local. We have an awesome, beautiful organic store near us, so we're very, very blessed, and we know where some of that is coming from. But the olives was a question mark for me that I had never really considered, or hadn't considered heavily, and And so kind of just picturing all of the amazing people who kind of made that happen. So the people who grew the olives, the people who cultivated the basil, the people who took care of the tomato growing, all of the ingredients that went into your meal, kind of thinking about who took the time to grow them. Were those people happy while they were growing them? Did this add to their livelihood as they were doing this? And then kind of taking into account after the farmers, how they got here. So how they were transported either by truck or by plane and or by ship, or however they would have gotten here. And just kind of taking that moment to actually recognize a meal is fantastic and is something that not everybody has, and just is so stunning. So that was kind of the first part. And then after you've kind of done that, the next instruction was to pay attention when you are biting into your meal or forking in your meal or whatever, however you are eating it. Be aware of the tastes, of the textures, of the flavors. I had a slight inkling that there would be a mindful aspect to lunch. So I specifically left out some of the spices because I wanted it to be kind of like as plain, even though it's already flared up. There's lots of basil and olives, which are some of my favorite flavors, and tomatoes and stuff. But I left out salt and pepper. I left out olive oil, which are usually come in huge place in my meals, because I kind of wanted that like bland or more neutral kind of taste, so that I could actually take the moment to appreciate things. So the next thing was to taste the flavors and taste the textures and all of that kind of stuff as you're actually eating. And as I was using a fork to eat it, as I was kind of diving in, they had also mentioned to chew 30 or 40 times, which is something that, of course, we probably have all heard. I've definitely heard. Your teeth make up the first part of your digestive system. So if you're not actually breaking food down, then you're sending it through the digestive system in larger parts. There's no teeth further down the digestive system. So you've got like one shot to really break down food enough that the rest of digestion can go optimally. So they had said to chew it 20 to 40 times or 30 to 40 times. Mine was pretty kind of everything was chopped up. So I think I usually chewed like around 20 times, which may be too much information, but just so that you guys kind of don't be hard on yourself, because that was the other one of the massive many lessons that I will forever cherish from the day. So then you kind of go in through that and kind of tasting the textures, anything like that. And it was a fully silent meal. So when they kind of rang they had this beautiful big, kind of like a singing bowl bell that they would ring, and then everything was silent from that point forward. And you actually ate the entire meal in this kind of community of close-knit friends by the end of the day, but also completely silently, so that you could really kind of explore all of that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to come on and share that. The tradition is absolutely beautiful. It was a part of a day that was so magnificent, that I felt really kind of lined up with food and nutrition for you guys, certainly improving digestion through kind of chewing and mindful focus that way. The other kind of big insight that I got while I was practicing this or using this as a practice was, and even me, I feel like I'm pretty aware when I kind of sit down for a meal, I've made the time to kind of like be pretty present with it. I had always thought, but I was super surprised at how little I ate and how satiated I felt. So there was really this kind of beautiful piece to that as well, and kind of managing appetite and that kind of stuff. So I had wanted to come on and share. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I feel like I will be in a beautiful Zen state at least the rest of the night, I hope. So I'll be happy to come back on and answer any questions you guys have, or If there was any other big insights, I feel like I've just spent the night kind of chatterboxing my husband's ears off so far of just like how beautiful and all the different amazing pieces of this workshop. So yeah, I think that was mostly it. Paying attention to the farmers, paying attention to how your food actually got here, paying attention to, there was a practice where we went out for a walk earlier in the day that highlights this, where they had said if you're kind of struggling or if you're trying to bring your attention back, then bring up the thought that you're walking for everybody who can't walk, or who desperately wants to walk right now, or who is in rehabilitation to be able to walk again. And that was something that really stuck with me. And there was a piece with that, with the eating as well, of like, how many times have you, I have had surgery once, but how many times have you either been in a hospital or been in a state where you couldn't eat, or had an IV drip in, or how many people do you know with that experience who can't have the joyous beauty of food? And if you've ever kind of come out of that, or even a camping trip where you're kind of on like starchy things, or climbing a mountain, we've had experiences where it's like a lot of camping food, you kind of get down. And I remember this even as a teenager from mountain trips, where then you'd get off the mountain, and as much as I hated vegetables as a teenager, you'd get off the mountain and be like, I just want like this huge salad just to kind of like refill all the fresh food that I wasn't able to get during this time. So I hope that I summed that up closely. I tried to not kind of add anything. I tried to really keep it as beautiful a practice as it was. So if I was going to kind of recap here and then send you off to go eat in silence, then it would be, take a look at the individual ingredients. Think about all of the amazing people who grew those ingredients in the states that they were in, and if you helped them, and if they were happy, and then all the transport for it to get here, and be grateful for that, and thinking about kind of all the people who can't have the joyous moment of eating right now, and kind of eat for them, have the focus of them in your mind as well, and then think about the textures and the flavors, and soon after silence happens, I feel like you will also recognize when you are actually full in a very different way than maybe you've experienced before. So I wanted to share that. I love you guys. I hope you have the most beautiful night. You guys make the sunshine, so thank you so much, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday.